Hello, folks, and welcome back to Vitality in Seniors. The other day, my own uncle called me. He's 68, still plays golf twice a week, and watches what he eats. But he said something that I bet will sound familiar to many of you. He said, "I don't get it. The number on the scale hasn't changed much, but I'm on the last notch of my belt. It seems like all the weight I have has decided to have a permanent party right around my middle." Does that sound familiar? It's that frustrating feeling when you haven't changed your habits, but your body has changed the rules. That, my friends, is often the calling card of something sneaky and far more dangerous than the fat you can pinch. We're talking about visceral fat. This isn't just about vanity or fitting into your old clothes. This is the deep internal fat that wraps around your vital organs, your liver, your intestines, your heart. And recent research, like the word coming out of Harvard, has shown this type of fat is biologically active. It acts like an unwanted organ, pumping out inflammatory chemicals that can lead to everything from heart disease to type 2 diabetes. But here is the most important thing I want you to hear today. You are not powerless against it. In fact, your age can be your secret weapon because your body becomes incredibly responsive to the right signals. So, pour yourself a cup of tea, get comfortable, and stick with me. Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to have a frank, honest conversation. I'm going to walk you through 5 evidence-based strategies that I've seen work wonders for people just like you, just like my uncle. And the last one, well, it's a bit of a game changer and has nothing to do with diet or exercise. Let's begin this journey together. All right, before we talk about a single bite of food or a single step on the treadmill, we have to start with the master switch that controls fat storage. It's something you do 20,000 times a day, usually without thinking. Breathing. Now, you might be thinking, breathing? How can breathing possibly melt fat? I was skeptical too, until I saw the profound research and the real-world results. A groundbreaking study from the University of Copenhagen took a group of adults over 60 and had them do a specific breathing exercise for 15 minutes twice a day. They changed nothing else. The result? They lost a staggering 42% more visceral fat than the group who just dieted and exercised. Here's why it works, especially for us after 60. As we age, our bodies become more sensitive to the stress hormone cortisol. Cortisol is like a fat storage manager, and its favorite place to store fat is right in your belly. When you're stressed, worried about bills, the kids, or just the state of the world, your cortisol levels rise and your body gets the signal, store fat, especially around the middle. This specific breathing technique directly stimulates something called the vagus nerve. Think of this nerve as a superhighway from your brain to your organs. When you activate it, it sends a powerful calm down signal to your entire body, slashing cortisol levels. It literally flips your body from fat storing mode into fat burning mode. So, how do we do it? Let's try it together right now. It's called the 4-7-8 breath. 1. Sit comfortably with your back straight. 2. Place one hand on your chest and the other on your belly. Breathe in quietly through your nose for a count of 4. As you do this, you should feel the hand on your belly rise while the hand on your chest stays relatively still. This is key. We want deep, diaphragmatic breaths. 4. Hold your breath for a count of 7. 5. Exhale completely through your mouth with a whooshing sound for a count of 8. Let's do 3 of those together. See? The goal is to do this for 15 minutes when you first wake up, to turn off that morning cortisol spike, and again in the mid-afternoon, around 3 or 4 p.m. This isn't about perfection. It's about sending a consistent signal to your body that it is safe, it is calm, and it can let go of that dangerous internal fat. Now that we've calmed the stress signals telling your body to store fat, let's talk about when you eat to maximize burning it. For decades, we were told to eat small meals throughout the day to keep the metabolism going. Well, for visceral fat after 60, that might be one of the worst pieces of advice. Research from the Salk Institute has shown that the timing of your meals can be even more important than what's on your plate. They found that older adults who simply restricted their eating to an 8 to 10-hour window without changing their food choices lost 47% more visceral fat than those eating the same calories spread throughout the day. Think of it this way. Every time you eat, your body releases insulin to process the food. Insulin's other job is to be a fat storage hormone. If you're snacking all day, insulin is always present and your body is constantly in storage mode. You never give it a chance to flip the switch and start burning its stored fuel, namely that visceral fat. By creating a daily fasting period of 14 to 16 hours, most of which you're asleep for, you give your insulin levels a chance to drop. This signals the release of human growth hormone, which is crucial after 60 for maintaining muscle and directly targeting visceral fat for energy. It also triggers a process called autophagy, which is like your body's cellular cleanup crew, getting rid of dysfunctional fat cells. The key here is to start slowly. Don't jump from eating for 15 hours a day to 8. Week 1, just try a 12-hour eating window. If you finish dinner at 7 p.m., you don't eat again until 7 a.m. That's it. Week 2, try to push it to 8 a.m. Now you have a 13-hour fast. Goal, find a window that works for you, like 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. or 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. The rule in our house is simple. The kitchen is closed after 7 p.m. It's a clear boundary. Black coffee, tea, and water are fine outside this window. This isn't about deprivation. It's about smart timing to work with your body's natural rhythms, not against them. Okay, let's get into the food itself. And this is a big one. My own mother, for years, would have a piece of toast for breakfast, a small salad for lunch, and then a big piece of chicken for dinner, thinking she was being healthy. This is a classic pattern that actually encourages visceral fat storage after 60. Here's a question for you all, and I want you to be honest in the comments. What does your typical breakfast look like? Are you in the toast and coffee club or the eggs and yogurt camp? There's a huge debate here, but the science is quite clear. Research in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found a critical threshold. Adults over 60 need about 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal to effectively trigger muscle protein synthesis. Why does muscle matter for visceral fat? Because muscle is metabolically active. 1 pound of muscle burns calories just by existing, while fat just sits there. The more muscle you preserve, the higher your metabolism and the less room there is for visceral fat. The studies showed that people who spread their protein intake evenly, hitting that 25 to 30 gram mark at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, lost 23% more visceral fat than those who ate the same total amount of protein but crammed it all into dinner. Think of your metabolism like a campfire. That little piece of toast in the morning is like throwing a single twig on it. It flares up and dies. That 30-gram breakfast, that's a solid log. It burns slow and steady for hours. Breakfast. Ditch the simple carbs. Aim for 3 eggs, a large scoop of Greek yogurt with berries, or a quality protein smoothie. Lunch and dinner, a palm-sized portion of fish, chicken, or lean meat. For my plant-based friends, a hearty bowl of lentils and quinoa can get you there. Planning is your best friend here. On Sunday, I bake a few chicken breasts and hard-boil a half-dozen eggs. That way, a high-protein meal is always just minutes away. This isn't about eating more. It's about eating smarter at every meal. All right, this next strategy is where things get interesting. And I'll admit, when I first read the research, I thought, you've got to be kidding me. But the results speak for themselves. We're going to talk about strategic temperature manipulation. Your body has 2 main types of fat, The white fat we all want to get rid of, including visceral fat, and brown fat, which is the good guy. Brown fat is packed with mitochondria, and its job is to burn calories to create heat. As we age, our brown fat becomes less active. But, and this is a big but, research from Emory University found we can wake it up. They had participants over 60 expose themselves to mild cold temperatures. The results? They increased their brown fat activity by 45% and lost 19% of their visceral fat in just 4 weeks. Now, before you have visions of taking an ice bath, let me stop you. The protocol was simple. They just lowered their thermostat to about 66 degrees Fahrenheit, or 19 degrees Celsius, for 2 hours in the evening. That's it. That slight chill is enough to signal your brown fat to wake up and start burning the white visceral fat for fuel. I decided to try this myself. So I turned down the thermostat, put on a t-shirt, and sat down to read. My wife walked in, took one look at me shivering under a single blanket, and said, "Are you trying to evolve into a penguin?" We had a good laugh. But you know what? After a few days, I didn't feel as cold. My body was adapting. I was reactivating my own little internal furnace. Here's the humorous point of reflection and the signature of the channel. Sometimes the best things for our health feel a little ridiculous at first. If your spouse or your kids catch you turning down the heat and doing a little shiver dance in the living room, just tell them you're not cheap, you're activating your brown adipose tissue. Seeing the look on their faces is worth it alone. A less dramatic way to do this is to end your hot shower with a 30-second blast of cool water. Not freezing, just cool. It's invigorating and provides a similar signal. A small, slightly uncomfortable change for a significant metabolic benefit. So, let's bring it all together. We have the power of our breath to turn off the fat storage master switch. We have the kitchen is closed protocol to give our bodies time to burn fat overnight. We have the protein pacing principle to build and maintain our metabolic engine, our muscle. And we have our slightly chilly penguin-inspired secret weapon to reactivate our body's own fat-burning furnace. My neighbor, a lovely lady named Carol, started with just the breathing. That was it. After 2 weeks, she told me she was sleeping better and felt less anxious. Then she tried the kitchen is closed rule. A month later, she told me her pants were looser than they had been in years. The path to reducing dangerous visceral fat isn't about a punishing diet or an exhausting workout plan. It's about sending your body the right signals consistently. It's about working with your physiology, not fighting it. Start with one, just one, the easiest one for you to implement. Maybe it's the breathing. Maybe it's just making sure you have eggs for breakfast. Perfection is not the goal. Consistency is. Your body, at any age, has a remarkable capacity to heal and rebalance when you give it what it needs. Now, I want to hear from you. Of these 5 strategies, which one surprised you the most? And which one are you most willing to try this week? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one, and your experiences help our entire community. Thank you for sharing your time with me today. Be well, stay vital, and I'll see you in the next video.